So you remember that rapid prototyping video that I put out a few days ago right up there? If you haven't viewed that yet, I would recommend it, obviously. And those methods still apply for some parts of our testing process, but I have found something quite interesting and very useful. So let me show you what I mean. This is our standard Flux workflow. Recently, I switched to this sampler. One thing that allowed us to do was get rid of all of these extra nodes that were dangling off to the side, because we can now set all of our parameters directly on the sampler itself. So there's no need to have all that extra stuff over there, which is neater and cleaner, but that is not all this node can do. It is far more powerful than that. So one of the first things you might have noticed about this is that all of these fields are text fields. So instead of having a drop-down list where you can choose from a list of samplers, you have to type in the name of the sampler you want. And you might have thought, that's a bit annoying. Why do I have to type this out? Well, for one, to make that easier, I've included these notes here where you can simply copy paste. Make sure you either type in lowercase letters or copy paste from these little notes right into these fields. The reason why they are text fields is because this allows you to add a comma separated list of samplers or schedulers or any other field on this sampler like so. So I would just add a comma and type ddim, and now I have two samplers listed here. Why? The answer is we can do multiple runs simultaneously, which is quite powerful. On our latent image, we have batch size 1, but if I run this, calm down, we get 2 images, and that's because we have 2 samplers selected here. So our sampler actually ran 2 runs, one with each sampler. This is the Euler and this is the ddim. In this case, not much of a difference between the two. Now, the next step in this is data. In one of my previous videos, I mentioned that there is this extra node here and not to worry about it because it has no effect on the output image. If we come down here to this bottom field and change that to true and click the Q button again, we see we get data down here with our images. This is the one that was ran with the Euler sampler, and this is the one that was ran with the ddim sampler. This is very simple to use. All you do is send your decode into here and your params from your sampler into there. And then the output just goes to your preview chooser or your save image or whatever node you have here for your output. But this is just the beginning. Say we wanted to run Euler and ddim at different guidances. So we can do the same thing here. Let's go 4.5 and 5.5. Now we have 2 samplers and 3 levels of guidance. And we can see we get 6 output images. Let's resize this a little. Zooming in, we can see that we have first off the Euler and the ddim ran at 3.5 guidance. In the next row, we have Euler and ddim ran at 4.5 guidance. And in the final row, we have Euler and ddim ran at 5.5 guidance. So you can see how this is quite powerful already, but that is not all. Let's say we want to do a massive run, and rather than typing in a bunch of different sampler and scheduler names, let's just put this back to Euler and let's change our sampler to an input and our scheduler to an input. Now we can add a node here. If you search for helper, there is a sampler select helper and a scheduler select helper, and we connect that to our sampler and connect that to our scheduler, and now we can simply turn any samplers or schedulers we want on. So let's say we want to do a big run. Let's go Euler, let's test DPM2, DPM adaptive, DPM PP2M, DDPM, DAS, DDIM, and UniPC. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different samplers selected, and we want to choose normal, Keras, and DDIM uniform schedulers. So we have 8 different samplers, each one running all 3 schedulers, meaning we will have a total batch size of 24. If we go back to our guidance, we have 3 levels of guidance. Just for simplicity, I'm going to keep 3.5 and 5.5, but you could also add a comma separated list of steps here or seeds or any of these other fields to increase the size of this batch. So we will have all 24 of these combinations ran at 3.5 guidance and all 24 ran at 5.5 guidance, meaning we're going to have a total batch size of 48. Even though our latent image is set to batch size 1 here, we will have 48 total output images in our batch. So let's run this. That took around 405 seconds or almost 7 minutes to generate 48 images with varying combinations of scheduler and sampler. On the first row, we have our Euler normal, Euler cross, Euler DDIM uniform, all at guidance 3.5. And then we have DPM2 with normal, DPM2 with cross, DPM2 with DDIM uniform, all at 3.5, and so on down the line, which means in a matter of minutes, we can test a huge combination of schedulers and samplers and quickly narrow down which combination we want for the particular image we're trying to generate. So you can see how this is quite powerful. Now, there's one other thing you can do, which I haven't implemented yet because I am pretty much always using this Sarge node, but you can add this node called text encode for sampler params. It gives you in the default prompt here, separate prompts with at least 3 dashes like so. And what this allows you to do is evaluate multiple prompts. So I just copied the prompt from our Sarge output there. And let's say I want to try this without this middle section. So I will put this into the sampler instead of the standard prompt. And this will test both of these prompts. I am just going to make this simple and just do these two. So we'll leave this at 3.5 and we will change our sampler and scheduler back to widgets. So we're going to run Euler simple 3.5 for 24 steps with both prompts. And there we have it. Again, in this example, not much of a difference, but you can see how this would be quite powerful. If I wanted to, I could have included both of those prompts with all 48 of my previous images for a total of 96 images in my batch. So you can test all of your samplers, all of your schedulers, levels of guidance, seeds, number of steps on as many prompts as you like, which of course would get quite large very quickly, but doing it that way is much faster than doing individual runs yourself. And it already has all of the data included in the image here, so you don't have to track that separately. The one thing this does not cover are other outside nodes, such as your clip attention multiply, or if you're using an IP adapter or a controlnet, the settings that are on those won't be accounted for in this data, so you would still have to track that yourself. What I would recommend is doing this method of testing first, and once you've narrowed that down to a specific group of settings, then you can track things like your clip attention multiply or whatever other settings you're testing, like I showed you before on the rapid prototyping video. And once you've narrowed down all of the settings to the combination you want, all you have to do is turn this add params back to false, and you can get your image without the data burned in at the bottom there. So that's it for this one. I think this is extremely useful, and hopefully you guys found it useful as well. If you did, be sure to give the video a like, make sure you're subscribed if you are not already, and be sure to share this with anyone you know who might find it useful as well. In the next couple of videos, I have some really cool stuff coming for you guys. I have our video on LoRa's for those of you who wanted to know how to do that, and then I have our IP adapters and our control nets coming, which are quite powerful. So be sure to check for those. When those are posted, I will update this video with links in the description and or cards up here in that area somewhere. I'm going to get onto those, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.